This is the insider talk between me and someone who actually works for Northvolt in Sweden. This company, founded in 2016, is the biggest startup in European history ever. It has raised more than 15 billion US dollars from great names like Volkswagen, Gossen, German government, Canada government, and it has enough contracts from Volkswagen, BMW, and the other automakers. So this is a new company who is not lack of money, is not a lack of contract, is not a lack of attention. It is born to be a superstar. People call it CATL of Europe. By the way, CATL is a battery manufacturer for vehicle industry, biggest along the world. However, such a superstar just announced to go bankrupt in recent days. What a shock for me. And I happen to know someone who works for this company in recent years. So here comes the talk. Hey Joe, nice to meet you. Long time no see.
Hello, yes, long time no see.
I know you are in Sweden and I know you work with Northvolt. This company is the hope of European electric vehicle industry. But what's wrong with that?
Okay, you also heard the bad news about Northvolt, right?
Yes, everybody was talking about that today.
At the beginning, I want to give you a brief background introduction, what happened here. At the same time, I have to say I cannot guarantee that what I said is completely correct. I can just say what I know and what I heard.
Okay.
It's everything seems fine, but Northvolt until the September, suddenly we heard about news. Okay, Northvolt, they don't have any money, so they need to lay off over 400 employees. The reason they need to fire people, or the reason they need they are run out of money, maybe because of BMW, they withdraw their 2 billion euros order. That's maybe the reason. At the end of the September, we heard the news that the Northvolt, they are gonna fire over 1,600 people. So it have like a huge difference from 400 people announced 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 times. I mean, 3 times more people cut off.
Yes, exactly. And suddenly the whole city was in panic. No matter you are working in the hospital or no matter you work in another company, everybody concerned about this because they all know if Northvolt closed, the price of the house of this city going to be very down and down and down. 1 month later, around October 20th, we received the news. They already finished their layoff. They have 800 blue-collar workers and more than 400 white-collar workers were laid off. Totally, it's 1,200 people.
Okay, how many people are there in Northvolt? I want to know what does it mean for 1,200.
Before they are have 4,000. It's kind of 25% of their total number.
Yeah, more than 25%. So
yes, it's kind of 25%. After that, in November this month, we heard about the Northvolt. They own their supplier 2.5 billion kron, the Swedish currency.
Yeah.
Supplier also began to lay off employees. They started to reduce the production. Many suppliers from China, they were the most affected, lead intelligent equipment, Kadali, senior material. Those suppliers from China, they have big affected.
Okay.
After that, last week, November 21st, they announced that they would like to file a Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. And also at the same time, the CEO resigned. They began the bankruptcy protection process.
It's full of chaos, full of shit. And you see my laugh. You see my smile face. Usually when people see something pitiful, something in tragedy, usually people feel pity, feel sorry. But you see my laugh. You know why? It's because on today's Chinese social platform, everybody is laughing at Northvolt.
Yes, why?
And I think the reason is that everybody for last recent years, we are assuming that Northvolt is becoming CATL of Europe. Everybody believe Northvolt is the hope and very important power of auto industry in Europe.
Yes.
Because everybody see Northvolt, a giant, a superstar, but finally it turns out to be a tragedy, a joke. So people laugh at it. Why? Why a so charming superstar turns out to be a joke? Why? Could you explain that?
In my opinion, is the problem encountered by Northvolt can be divided into like three different parts. Part one is kind of like management issues. Even Northvolt, they have a main supplier from China, but they don't seem to trust the Chinese. That's very funny because even they don't hire many Chinese people. At the same time, they hire more and more and more Indian people. If you work with Indian people before, you will know they talk a lot, but they don't do that much.
Be careful with your speech.
We can cut this and I can speak again.
Just a joke, no worry. Say whatever you want to say.
Okay. They hire a lot of Indians. That's also one of the problems because Indians, they don't have much experience in this battery field. And also, but this time about the layoff, I heard many people, even they have good experience in the factory, but they was fired because they didn't join the union. And many people, even they don't have many experience, but they still keep in the company because they joined the union. From this side, we can know Northvolt, they don't have like a strong determination in management. In this situation, my opinion, it should be like, okay, we keep experienced people here and we fire like a new guy. But they are doing the opposite things. So
the union didn't founded Tesla, and the India didn't invented BYD, so far as I know.
Except the management problem, they also have like technical problems. They start to build a battery factory from the very beginning, so they don't have many experience. And at the same time, they don't trust the Chinese supplier. The lead equipment, they provide the whole line for Northvolt. Their laborers, for their workers, they don't trust what lead shows. And maybe because of some work habits or some like safety rules. I heard about one news. It's like when the Chinese people, they are running the machine runs very well. But when the labor from the Northwood, they run the machine didn't work very well. That's also the problem because they cannot force their worker to do something that they don't want to do. And at the same time, they also have like financial problems. Since we know it's at the beginning, it's very hard to hire people in the North Sweden because it's a remote place. And after that, they changed their mind. So they gave people more and more money. It's a much better salary than before. So they start to hire a lot of people. I don't know why they hired many people more than what they need. So that's also a big load for the company. And at the same time, they didn't overcome the technical difficulties and the production problem, but they built more and more factories. Like Germany, like Canada, they start to build the factory. So that's also caused the financial problem. So I think, in my opinion, it's like have these three different problems: management problem, technical problem, and the financial problems.
Can you share with us more information during the startup of Northvolt?
They have over three different suppliers from China for Northvolt.
Yeah.
One of the biggest is Lead Intelligent Equipment. So this company is very funny. They have almost 200 people here. They have two parts. One part is a very small part. It's like they hired from Sweden. Mainly it's like international students here. But another part is like they're from China. Chinese companies send them come here, work 3 months, and then they will go back. Another team will come 3 months. They use like a business visa. They don't use work visa here. So these people, they cannot speak English. They cannot speak Swedish. They only live and work with their company. They may have like a translator. So the company helps them to rent a lot of house. So they can live together and they can go shopping together. They rent the bus. So the bus can deliver them to go to work or go back to home together. So that's also very funny. And except for this, rest of the company, for me, I think they are fine. They don't have like this kind of management. They just hire people from the Europe. So everybody can speak English or Swedish, so they can survive themselves. And but the lead, they are very interesting. I don't know if it's because they don't trust the Europeans or they think Chinese are more experienced. I don't know, but yes, it is what it is.
They don't train the local employee to have a certain working skills, but instead they...
That's also very funny because when the people from the lead, the supplier run the machine can work very well. But even they train the local people, when the local people, they run the machine cannot work very well. So that's the most funny part. And I don't know why.
It seems everything was wrong everywhere. But so far as I know, Northvolt is very famous supplier for potential maybe BMW or Mercedes or Volkswagen or Renault. I think these European big giant car makers rely on Northvolt to make battery localization for Europe. That's what I heard from the news. If Northvolt went bankrupt, how about Renault and BMW? How can they make their battery?
I think BMW already lost the patience for Northvolt because they withdraw the 20 billion orders from Northvolt in July.
So far as I heard, I know BMW or Mercedes, they may have 3 or 4 suppliers for battery because at the beginning, maybe they don't trust one supplier can do all the jobs. But it seems Northvolt just failed everybody's trust. So that means European car maker can only trust on Chinese battery or Korean or Japanese. Only the Asian guys can solve the problem of battery for European cars. Is that true?
So far, it's Northvolt. They have many suppliers, but most of them from Asia. Yes, they have like Chinese suppliers, they have Korean suppliers, they have Japanese suppliers. But the problem is now all the suppliers already began to go back to their country because Northvolt, they don't have enough money to pay for them. So yes, because most of the important suppliers from China, Korea, and Japanese.
What a tragedy. Let's go back to early times. If Northvolt don't know how to make a car battery, if Northvolt don't know how to management the technique and supply chain issues, how can it become Northvolt? How can it become so famous? And how can it earn so much trust from BMW and Audi and Mercedes?
At the beginning, what they are saying is they have the biggest green factory in the world. It's like our electricity from the water, our electricity maybe from the wind. It's not like, okay, we from the fire. That's their difference.
Okay. That means they have green energy. Why? Why they have green energy? Because they have some wind power or like water power, something like that?
I think so, but I don't know more details about this.
You have energy. That doesn't mean you have battery. They have green energy so that they want to make a green battery, and so the manufacturers of Europe just agree with that, support that.
Yes, because Europeans, they are not like Asians. They want to take more responsibility about the environment. So if they can use like green power, so that shows they're more decent and more responsible.
I've been to Sweden and Deutschland for many times, and I know ideology they agree with like environment protector kinds of things. I admire that and I respect that, but battery is battery. You need to make a battery and then utilize the battery.
Yes, that's the most important part.
Okay, Joe, I just wonder, I think European, they know something about a car battery. Because BMW used to have i3 and i8, and Mercedes has EQ, Volkswagen has ID. And 1 century ago, Porsche already made their electric vehicle, and the plug-in hybrid maybe. I think European has a lot of experience dealing with car battery. So why Northvolt? It seems they have no experience and no skill to handle a battery business. Why?
Okay, in my opinion, it's more like management problems. The problem is Northvolt and the supplier, they don't trust each other. There's like a conflict from different culture. When people from China and when people from the Sweden, they work together, they don't trust each other, so they will make the efficiency become very, very, very low. That's maybe the biggest problem. This part also very funny because they blame each other. The supplier, they blame the workers from Northvolt. They are not good. They cannot run the machine. But the Northvolt, they blame the lead. They think their machine is not a good machine. It's not like a machine that people can run. So they blame each other. So in this situation, we don't know which side is saying the right thing. Because when bad things happen, people always blame each other.
But the problem is why you only rely on Asian supplier like Korean or Chinese? You make a giant big battery company in North Europe. Why you cannot find some supplier in maybe France or Germany or Italian? Why?
Northvolt, they want to do the best in the world. So they want to choose the best supplier as well. China and Japan and Korean, they're doing very well in this field. I thought it's maybe because of this reason.
If Asia has the best battery suppliers, I think that means Asia has the best battery. So Europe can just directly purchase this battery from Asia. They don't need to have a Northvolt, Southvolt, Eastvolt, Westvolt. So why they want to build a company like Northvolt?
That's because of they don't want to be lower than Asians in this factory stuff.
Okay, I know. They want to make Europe great again.
Yes, they want to make Europe great again. Yes, exactly.
I live in Shanghai, and in China, the most famous battery maker is CATL, who has the headquarters in Fujian province. And actually, the headquarters located in a small city called Ningde. And before CATL, basically most of Chinese don't know the city named Ningde. That's because Ningde is just a small city. Small city, the labor cost is low. So I think the car battery industry rely on many things, but one of the things is low labor cost. Everybody knows people in Swedish, they are high cost labor. Why they try to make a car battery in such high labor cost country?
I'm not very sure about this, but the founder of the Northvolt is Swedish.
Good excuse.
Yes, maybe. Because, if you have a factory in Hungary, that will be very low cost. But if you have a factory in Sweden, that will be very high. So I don't know why, but maybe it's just because Sweden want to grab this chance, and maybe because the founder of the Northvolt come from Sweden. So that's just a maybe.
Now I know. There is a company who has the most expensive labor cost and who located not only in Sweden but north part of Sweden, which means the logistic must be not so easy for the manufacturer, and who don't have local core supplier. So they need to ask for supplier in Asia, which is thousands of miles away. And that company wants to make battery for biggest car manufacturer in Europe. Want to make Europe electric vehicle greater again. And during the process, not only supplier from Asia, but also many of the workers coming from China, who cannot speak English or Swedish language, but work in Sweden and become more efficient than local employee. That's what I know from you.
And one more thing I wanted to share with you is now what they are doing, the bankruptcy protection, they still have time to save itself. They still have chance to help the company back. Because now if they are doing the Chapter 11 of the US bankruptcy, because the CEO already resigned, they will have a new management and they will make it more easier to raise funds to get money. So now, Northvolt, they still have a chance to survive. It's just based on next half year, maybe several months. After that, we will know if they will survive.
I think maybe for Europe, we all know Europe, America, a very high developed area, very high developed economy of the world. Maybe they are just too good to do hard work, to do manufacture. People all know Europe are good at making cars. But I think it's because for the last century, Europeans always making cars. So European has enough experience on how to make a car. But for car battery, it's totally a brand new thing for Europe. So for such kinds of new industry, maybe they know how to do it from 10 to 100, but they just don't know how to do it from 0 to 1. I think these kinds of expertise and experience only exist in Asia. And it's hard to just take it from Asia to Europe.
I agree, like 80%. Because if you have a factory in East Europe, like or Middle Europe, like Hungary, you can run the company very well because they also can do like 12 hours one day and 6 days a week. They work like this, like Chinese, and they are very low cost. They are hard workers. In Sweden or in America, people are rich. So it's hard to force them to work in a very hard way. That's maybe also the why.
Car manufacturer is not a car designer. It's not popular music. It's not jazz. It's not some fancy sports. Thank you very much for this talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope we can meet soon, Joe.
Yeah, hopefully we can meet soon.